Do you want to turn the game into easy mode? Or maybe you just like the smell of burning Cabal and ashes first thing in the morning. Regardless of what it is, we have a build that can walk through most endgame content like it was a patrol mission, with never-ending fusion grenades, healing, and a weapon damage buff from Radiant. Hello my fellow weirdos, how are you today? Season of the Haunted brought some fantastic changes, like Skyburner's Oath now scorching everything, Solar 3.0, some awesome returning weapons like the Drang, and a fusion grenade meta of all things. But you know what it didn't bring with this fusion meta? An ornament for the Ashen Wakes. Them some pretty looking solar nuggets you got there. Let's just pretend you didn't hear that. Yeah. So anyways, Ashen Wakes. Let's make a build with them, shall we? The Ashen Wakes cause fusion grenades to explode on impact and grant grenade energy back on final blows. The meaner the enemy, the more energy we get back, up to 100%. Nothing has really changed with them except fusion grenades are now dominant with Solar 3.0. And speaking of Solar 3.0, let's talk about the aspects of fragments we're going to need to really turn the heat up on this one. Was that too corny? Sol Invictus creates sunspots by defeating scorched targets or getting solar ability final blows. If an enemy walks through the sunspot, they become scorched. And if we walk through or stand in the sunspot, we receive restoration and 150% ability regeneration. Roaring Flames is the second aspect, and this grants a 20% damage buff to our abilities with every ability kill we get, capping at 3 stacks. Both of these aspects go hand in hand with the Ashen Wakes because low tier enemy kills with a fusion grenade gives us 50% of our grenade energy back. By walking through the sunspot, this will help speed up our grenade regeneration from Sol Invictus, and Roaring Flames at 3 stacks can turn our fusion grenades into a one-hit kill on most enemies in the game. Because of those 2 aspects, we get 4 fragment slots to play around with and turn this into a fiery hot mess. Ember of Torches makes us radiant from solar melee attacks. It doesn't even have to be a kill, just do some damage with our melee and it'll activate radiant to give us a 25% weapon damage buff for 10 seconds. But we're going to extend that by another 5 seconds with the help of the second fragment, Ember of Solace. This fragment also extends the restoration healing buff applied to us from Sol Invictus while walking through our sunspots, so they play nicely together. Another fragment that pairs well with these 2 is Ember of Tempering. This one gives us and our team more recovery after solar weapon final blows, and it stacks up to 3 times. Getting this recovery buff is fairly easy with the 25% damage buff from Ember of Torches. The final fragment is Ember of Singeing to recharge our class ability faster when we scorch targets, but this one is completely optional depending on the mods you have equipped, and I will explain shortly. The goal with the mods is to create as many elemental wells as possible to give us even more healing on top of the healing we already have, but more importantly, it's for the extra 10% ability energy to all our abilities when we pick up matching wells to help spam our fusion grenades. This can be achieved by equipping Bountiful Wells, Elemental Ordnance, and Melee Wellmaker. Every grenade or melee kill we get drops 2 solar elemental wells from Bountiful Wells, and with 3 stacks of Roaring Flames, the enemy's armor starts to feel like tissue paper against our grenades and melees, so we will have wells everywhere. The overkill icing on the cake of this build is Well of Life for even more healing on top of all the healing and recovery we already have, and Well of Ordnance for bonus grenade energy on top of all the grenade energy by picking up solar elemental wells. A few minor mods that synergize nicely are Ashes to Assets and Siphon on the helmet for bonus super energy from grenade kills, and Orbs of Power from solar weapon kills. Absolution and Innervation on the legs for grenade and all ability cooldowns when picking up orbs. And the artifact mod Withering Heat on the class item to weaken champions from ability damage. Another good one to use, and why I chose the fragment Ember of Singeing, is Bomber, to reduce grenade cooldown when using our class ability, but this can be swapped out with Molten Overload to stun champions with grenades. The only weapon requirement for this build is that we have at least 1 solar equipped to get the most benefit out of it. And don't worry, I'm going to leave a diagram on the screen of where I slotted everything. One final thing I would recommend is the Baby Bonk Hammer over the shoulder charge because it's completely refundable to continue giving us elemental wells from Melee Wellmaker. I'm not going to bullshit you and say this is the greatest build to ever exist, or that you're an absolute tank and not going to die. In fact, you're probably going to do what I do and blow yourself up with a fusion grenade. A lot. And that's fine, but this build will absolutely slap in endgame activities when it comes to damage and healing if you don't play like me. When around the proper light level recommended, we can walk through the content with ease. I really didn't start noticing an issue until I was 30 light levels under, but that was mostly because I could barely stun a champion with my weapons or take a barrier shield down before having to reload. The raw damage of the subclass itself will have no problem in activities above your pay grade, especially if we keep Roaring Flames active. I tried something different with this video. Let me know what you think. If you found this video helpful, a like would be awesome, but more importantly, be true to yourself, be good to one another, and have a fantastic day. Thank you!
Take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.